then government will be compelled to go and borrow. When government borrows, it has its own consequences because the borrowing allows other international institutions to influence certain policies in our country. The borrowing prevents us from developing our country the way we want to develop it. The borrowing allows us to continue to owe other countries, which is not the best for this country. So I think that we should understand that we can only develop this country by paying taxes. The taxes, when paid, must be used for the intended purposes. We have been at that level, 12.2% for a very long time. How do we move from 12.2% of tax to GDP to 20% at least to meet the ECOWAS regional threshold or benchmark? We can only do that by widening the tax network and then also plugging the loopholes. I read somewhere that 90% of documents submitted by importers are fake. Now, these are part of the loopholes. So it is not enough to widen the tax base. Plugging the loopholes, improving tax administration, making it easier for people to pay their taxes. And that is why the e-levy is one of the good sources. The reason is that it is easy to mobilize. It is easy to pay. Because now those who are to file their taxes, how do you even file your taxes? And that is even limited to those in the formal sector. And that's why the president is saying that we have only about 10%, 7.8%, about 2.4 million of the Ghanaian population carrying the tax burden of about 38 million people, which is unsustainable. And this is the plain truth that we need to know. But here is the problem. The problem is how to connect the utilization of the 12.2% that we mobilize to service delivery. So if we expand the tax network, no problem. If we seal the loophole, no problem. But there is an added aspect that we need to do, which is the accountability part. So once we seal it with the accountability part, I'm very positive that we'll be making some good inroads as far as that is concerned. But we should know that no country can be managed without taxes. And the taxes finances our PEs, that's the personnel emolument, what we call the compensation. Taxes finances what we call the goods and services. So the public sector institutions that are running, GBC that is running, customs that are running, internal audit agency that is running, audit service that is running, the judiciary that is sitting, the police service that is rendering all these services. These services are paid from the goods and services, and goods and services form part of the tax. Then compensate the CAPEX, which is the capital expenditure. The development that we see comes from the taxes. Now, here is the economics bit of it. If government does not spend, there will be no multiplier. The multiplier effect will be zero. Because public sector workers have not been paid. Today is on the 1st. Tomorrow, if government pays public sector workers, you will see that people will start spending. And when they spend, those in the informal sector would also have money. When they have money, they will also pay school fees. And the cyclical effect is that you see some economic activity in the sector. If government spends on capital expenditure, government pays contractors. Contractors would employ people who are masons, they will employ electricians, they would employ, they will buy cement, they will buy block, and there will be activism in the economy. So we would have to pay taxes. The tax rate we are paying are too low. 12.2% is not the best. Let us at least work towards getting to the regional ECOWAS threshold of 20%. And the way to go is to make sure that at least this e-levy thing is passed.
Why isn't the communication on the need to pay taxes as clear as what you have just said? I mean, this is just fact, and it's clear and it's understandable, it's devoid of any rancor and political bias. It's just clear. You've made a great case.
I think
the communication of the thing is the problem.
You see, talk about Kafui. The problem now is that we have politicized everything in this country. We have politicized everything in this country.
Because it's so clear. No, I mean, what you said is so clear.
I mean, the truth is that, look, see corporate Ghana as a company. See the president as a chief executive of the company. See the ministers as the directors of the company. The company will need capital to run. The company's areas of expenditure are three. Pay salaries of the workers, which is the compensation. Provide for goods and services, for administration, fuel, etc. Do capital expenditure by expanding. These are the three areas. Where would government get the money from? Government will have to get the money from taxes. If it's a company that somebody has established, the person will put capital in there. They will float shares. That is the taxes that we need to pay. In the past, in fact, we have not been able to raise all the taxes here. In the 2022 fiscal year, the expenditure is about 145 billion. But the taxes we intend to raise is about 100 billion, showing a gap of 45 billion. Where are we going to get the money from? We have to go and borrow. Why do we want to do that? When we know that we'll be able to mobilize. This borrowing thing, it affects government policy. It affects development. If we go to IMF, they will tell us we should not employ. And if we are not employed, look at the unemployment rate. So it's better we mobilize tax from within, use it ourselves, have control over our own policies, and make sure we hold our government accountable.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edric Odro. Osai, he sounds like a teacher. I think he taught before. And we'll come to you, Professor Malton, in a bit. I know you're also a teacher and you're just chomping at the bit to speak about this issue. But let's just make a detour to Kotoka International Airport, because our man, Darrell Alantego, is on the ground awaiting the arrival of some Ghanaians, students who are in Ukraine. So he's going to first give us an initial report just to paint the picture for us, and then we'll probably go back to him again later on. Darrell, hi. Welcome to the show again. Wizon. Afikanala, where are you?
Hi. Maraku, good morning. Dino Mele, Kotoka International Airport. I'm just waiting on the arrival of our compatriots from Ukraine. We have information, some of them will be arriving this morning via Qatar Airways, and the expected arrival time was supposed to have been 7:30, but as I speak to you, even if the aircraft had touched the tarmac, we are yet to see any sign of them exiting the aircraft. What there is, however, are officials from the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So if my camera will pan towards the right, you will have a very good shot of the officials huddled together, brainstorming on ways to welcome them home. I'm sure it will be ways of how best they can have them around. The officials from the Foreign Ministry spoke to the media not too long ago, giving us a certain outline of how they expect this whole thing to be done. And among the things they mentioned was how we cannot speak to these individuals because they want to at least respect their right to a certain privacy as well as their families. And so as it is, we are at the international arrivals hall, waiting for our compatriots from Ukraine to join us when they exit the aircraft en route from Qatar. You have the officials from the Foreign Affairs Ministry huddled together, also with us at the arrivals hall, waiting for them to join us. We are doing everything we can in a circumstance, at least, to manage a certain interview, if anything. But given the restrictions under which we're being made to work, we will do our best. We will do our best in the circumstance to grab a word or two from our compatriots when they touch down. Anything short of that, it will be a matter of they're here, we welcome them, and then the Foreign Ministry will tell us what there is in store. We know there's going to be a certain press briefing as well after the arrivals, where all of us, the media, the guys who arrived from Ukraine and the Foreign Ministry guys, will all go to the press center, and then the minister will host us to a certain press briefing, and then after that, then the families will waive their right to that privacy and grant interviews. That would be established later.
Well, thank you very much, Alan, and feel free to break into our show when they land, because that's on top of the agenda as far as people are thinking concerning Ukraine. So thank you very much for that report, Darrell Alantego at the arrivals hall of Kotoka International Airport, awaiting the re-entry into the country of Ghanaians who were in Ukraine. Of course, Ukraine and Russia are fighting, and we are happy to have our Ghanaians back home. Of course, today also, at 10 o'clock, there's going to be an engagement between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and parents of those who are living in Ukraine. So if you're a parent to any of these students and people working in that country and you want to get some answers from the government, well, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be having that interaction today at 10 o'clock. I'll give you more details about the venue. I know it's 10 o'clock. I'll give you the venue details and everything in a short while. Back to our conversations on taxes. And Dr. Osai has given us the justification for why we need to raise money from domestic sources. Professor Mauto, what are your thoughts on why do you think the president took such a long time to speak about this very important policy? It's been taken since November. We heard about the e-levy. The president is not speaking. Why? Was this a strategic silence?
Toby, I think this is what we've been talking about virtually every week in the studio. When all this e-levy thing started, I think we really accuse the leaders of their inability to engage. Dialoguing, very, very important. Educate the people. You know, if this education had taken place before today, I think the passage of e-levy has been history, but could have been history by now, because you see, people did not even understand the whole concept. And I quite remember there was a morning we came here and explained the implication of e-levy and the fact that if it is not passed by the end of the year, the financial implication on the economic development of this country. I remember very well last year, we sat here and even advised the MPs to take a critical look at the way and manner, there was this delay in the process of approving the budget and all that. But let me put this in context. Indeed, I think listening to the president, I think we shouldn't make it look like Ghanaians don't pay tax. Every Ghanaian pays tax. It depends on the type of tax that you pay. There are two major types of taxes, the direct and indirect. And I always lay the blame on the doorsteps of GRA. I always say this. I see, often than not, we always point fingers at the government. But government works through agencies. And we expect these agencies to do their work well.
On that note, GRA is the Ghana Revenue Authority.
Yeah.
Is it strange? Is it not strange why they have not led this communication on taxes?
That is it. No, it's not strange. It's not strange because they can only start the communication process when the bill has been passed into an act.
But before the bill is passed into an act, the sensitization of the public, couldn't that have been led by the GRA?
That is the work of the Ministry of Finance, the Budget Development Unit. Because under the Public Financial Management Act, consultation before development of a budget is the work of the Ministry of Finance. And there's a difference between economic policy, financial policy, and then monetary policy. And the institutions have their role to play. GRA could have assisted in the sensitization, awareness raising, consultation, as far as not only e-levy, all the tax components within the 2022 budget is concerned. In fact, we call it revenue enhancement measures. And GRA is not the only institution. There are other institutions that are supposed to also support in the revenue enhancement activities of government.
So finance should have led the communication.
That's right. They should have led the communication because they have, you see, the statement presented to Parliament is budget and economic policy. The economic policy is always led by the Ministry of Finance. And they go in with the economic policy, they go in with the budget, which is revenue and expenditure. Once Parliament approves the expenditure, you have approved the revenue. But the revenue can be mobilized through taxes. And the taxes can only be imposed when Parliament has passed a law.
Exactly.
And that is where we are. So the challenge we are even facing is that now you have approved the budget, you have approved the expenditure. Now you are refusing to approve or to get the e-levy passed or to approve some of the revenue headings to finance the expenditure. What it then means is that we are in a limbo. So the institutions have their roles to play, but economic policy is basically led by the Ministry of Finance.
So finance should have talked to Ghanaians and said, this is why we
well, I thought maybe they did, but they never anticipated that it would get to this level. The whole problem was the way we politicized the whole thing. I tell you, if we hadn't politicized the e-levy, and we had gone ahead to explain the e-levy as an important revenue enhancement mechanism, to finance public expenditure, the three main headings. And we had explained it to people that the MPs, your salary is in it. The judiciary, your salary is in it. Public sector workers, your salary is in it. If you pass it, we get salary. If you are not able to pass it, we don't get salary. Public sector activities will grind to a halt. Myself and Prof, we were here last year saying that it is incumbent on Parliament to give Ghana a budget. They approved the budget. But the consequential approvals are what is affecting us now. So I would plead that all those concerned must understand that now the burden is on the institution of Parliament to pass the relevant laws to enable the government to mobilize the revenue they need in the 2022 budget.
I'm going to ask you what the impact of this non-passing of this bill will be on Internal Audit Agency. But before that, I want Professor Mauto to just wrap your thoughts up. I mean, how does it affect you? I want to know. So I'll answer you. Yes, I'll come to you. Yes, because it's a public agency. It's not a public agency. And yours is a public institution as well. How does it affect you?
But mind you, today is 1st March.
Yes.
And I don't know the audit service has, Internal Audit Agency has received your salary.
Have your salaries come?
No, we have validated the salary. And you know, the way public sector workers, salary system works, first you have to validate heads of institutions to be sure that these people are your workers, they are not ghost
no ghost workers.
Yes, so once you validate, then the controller and accountant generals will also go through all the processes and send the money to the bank.
But it's macho.
As far as I'm concerned, I have validated.
Thank you.
So I'm waiting for the money. So once you validate, the money will come.
So February hasn't come yet?
It hasn't come, but it will come.
Okay,
all
right. Has February come for you?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, we are waiting.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Kafi, but you see, thank you, Doc, for the explanation. But you know, often than not, we always have to look at the strategy. You see, when the ministry always leads this communication, it is seen as partisan because headed by a partisan, person. Okay.
But the opposition cannot.
See, that is the finance minister. That is why it's so critical that use the state institutions to lead some of this, conscientization. Let them educate Ghanaians, and Ghanaians will accept that indeed it is coming from a state institution, but not that politician. So it doesn't give the political opponent that room to hit so much by advancing political argument. That is the problem. That is what we started earlier. Now, today, I thank God that the government has now redefined their tracks, going to the hinterlands, educating people on the need to pay e-levy now to augment our revenue base. That is fantastic. Now, coming back to my argument, okay, I still want to believe, and I still want to point accusing fingers at GRA for not doing well when it comes to collection of direct taxes.
Okay.
As for indirect taxes, in fact,
direct taxes would be what?
Direct taxes, collecting taxes from individuals.
So like incomes?
Income. Okay. Taxes on incomes, levies on your incomes. We've not really gotten the bait to unravel the mystery behind collection of taxes from individuals.
Why is it so hard to take money from incomes?
It's always hard because, you see, this time, you need to come out with a framework which will identify the income generated by each and everyone in this country. Not necessarily when the person is going to consume, but once you generate income in this country, you are supposed to pay a levy. You are supposed to pay a tax on that. We've not been able to do that.
Why not?
So you see, you first of all have to identify the people. You have to identify people who generate income. Now, I think over the years, there has been the need to identify. So that's why we have now have TIN numbers, okay, that has been synchronized with our Ghana card. So at least whatever you do, the assumption is that you'll be using your Ghana card for GRA to know that you have generated income. That is one aspect of it. However, you see, the ability to identify people's income is not as easy as you know. Making the payment of tax so simple that, look, I don't need to form a queue.
Prof.
Yeah.
People are being taxed all around the world. The president said 30% tax to GDP
Go
ratio.
to the US.
Yes.
Go to the people queue to pay taxes.
Yeah,
you know why?
They are
because if you know why? Because the system will identify you. They have digitized their system such that incomes can be tracked from accounts. Incomes can be tracked from even interpersonal dealings.
Which is what we are trying to do with digitization.
That is what we are trying to do as a country. That is why we always commend this particular government for leading that agenda. That if you really want to enhance your tax base, are you okay? Then there should be the need to have tools that you have to use in identifying people generating income. Okay, we've been mentioning one of the basic incomes that you can easily collect,
which is
what do you call property rate taxes. That is so easy. In fact, for those ones,
just look at the buildings and
I mean, it is not even difficult.
And value them. The buildings are there. The buildings can't run anywhere.
It's not every building that qualifies for property tax.
Yeah, so
the law says completed and habitable.
Thank you.
So if you don't meet that criteria, you cannot impose property tax. But I can agree with him. It's easy. But the challenge there is that it doesn't come into the consolidated fund. That one goes to the local government.
At least it will limit the burden on the government. That indeed we have budgeted for this particular amount of property rate taxes, and then used to construct roads in our various communities.
The challenge there again is that you see it boils down to structure. Local government do not construct roads. If it is urban roads, we have a department of urban roads. If it is a feeder road, local government can do the feeder. And a feeder road is not very expensive to do the feeder roads. So again, it's a structural issue. But I agree with my colleague. They can use it to do something.
So you see, in the absence of this property rate taxes, local authorities will solely depend on the common fund. Are you okay? So there's a lot of things to do that the revenue authorities are not doing, which hinders the government from meeting their revenue target. Each and every year, GRA will meet their target.
They exceed. They don't meet.
They even exceed it.
So people are asking whether they.
So is it that the targets are lower?
Who really gives them that target, and whether the targets are even realistic? Okay. So I mean, the direct tax components are what we are failing to meet as a country, and I think it's time that our various authorities in government ensure that the agencies, I wouldn't want to point fingers at the government here. The agencies responsible must come out with innovations. Okay, this e-levy, I want to believe that it should have come from GRA.
Definitely.
But you see, because it's a government policy, probably the government
but
is
GRA works for the
government.
But let me explain something. You see, what we need to understand is that the Ghanaian economy is largely informal to start with.
Yes.
Now, if you want to go into the direct taxation way, that is income that can be established, people who can be identified. You and I are in the formal sector, so we can be identified. Those who are in the informal sector cannot be identified, and therefore they are outside the tax bracket.
How do you find those people?
How do you find? That's what Prof is saying. And to find those people, you need to develop a database, and that is why we have started with the Ghana card. After the Ghana card, then this e-levy will rope them in.
My question is, why wasn't the communication of the Ghana card re-registration thing linked to what you are talking about?
That is exactly what they should have done.
It looks like a threat that if you don't do your Ghana card by March, you will lose everything. But nobody is saying, listen, the Ghana card re-registration is part of, this is how, if you register on the Ghana card, we can build roads.
Because if you go to the US, if you go to the UK and they give you a green card, what is the meaning of that? Once you have that card, you have been identified, you can work, you can be taxed. That's all. And that's what we need to do. And you see, if you live in a country and you have national health insurance card, you go to hospital for free. You have free SHS. Your children go to school for free. If you want to eat, you go to a restaurant, you buy food, it has been subsidized. Fuel prices are going, and you want the government to come in to subsidize. Where is government going to get the money from? From our taxes. So I think the education and the explanation did not go down to Ghanaians. So I think we have to step up our education. The plain truth is that no country can manage without taxes. Taxes are paid by everybody in the formal and informal sector. currently it is only those in the formal sector who are paying
so
because
much.
we can identify them.
Yeah.
Let us identify those in the informal sector, rope them in, let all of us pay. Let's make sure that we hold government accountable. Let's get good services. That's all.
The conversations that you and Professor Malto have just had with me should be translated into as many languages as possible, because you've just broken the whole thing down so clearly. It's, I mean, it's just, you can understand it. I'm sure a 10-year-old watching the show today will understand, oh, this is why that this tax is e-levy, everything is beyond the politics, we won't get anywhere.
Yeah. Your
Your messages on 055-556-1034. I'm going to try and say the numbers in ever. 055-556-1034. So 0 is nanaka, nothing. So 05, nanaka, aton, ada, awo, blato, von. 055-556-1034. Those are our numbers. Send us our WhatsApps right here on GTV Breakfast. I sense some great Separa music happening later on today's show, and it's all part of our Ghana Month on GTV with the maestro, say Crunchy, who come and just tickle our senses with beautiful music. But let's talk about other issues right now. E-levy is big, and then UTAG too is big. We will resolve UTAG impasse. Yesterday, the president was talking on big issues, you know, E-levy, and now UTAG. He's promised that those things will be done. Lecturers are resuming at public universities. I believe it's today. Let me start with the lecturer, the man who loves to teach. He's made it his life. Yeah. President says the impasse will be resolved. Yeah. Does UTAG have confidence? You don't speak for UTAG, but you think your issues will be resolved?
Yeah. It's refreshing to hear this, that indeed the president is committed towards solving our problems, and all we want is that our problems are solved. But once again, let me also admit that, submit that I really like the stance of our national, there's the NEC, National Executive Committee. We've been asked to go back to the classroom.
Effective today? Or you've been going already?
Some started
yesterday. Okay, all right.
We started last week. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we started last week. And I mean, there's a statement to asking us to go back to the classroom, and then whenever they have to ask us to probably strike again, we will be informed. It's unfortunate that there are some universities which voted against the NEC decision, okay, which is unfortunate, which I always say that it has a corporate governance issue, okay, and by that decision, some of them have reneged and refused to go back to the classroom, and I think University of Ghana is one of them, and some other universities are, I mean, they have refused to even accept the direction or respond to the direction of their respective universities. But you know, last week, Dr. Saib made an emphatic corporate governance statement in this studio.
Who is Dr. Saib? Dr. Saib, yeah, right here. Yes.
Yeah. and that's in order. Okay.
What did he say?
Look, in all this, there are some heads of universities who must be blamed. Because as a head of a university, you are the principal officers of that university, and it's incumbent on you to ensure that if there's a directive from the court, you have to implement it. But some of the letters or statements, I mean, released by some of these administrators, seems to suggest that they still want to wait for UTAG in their respective branches to accept coming back to the classroom. And that is unfortunate. And that is not good leadership. It's not a demonstration of good leadership. Okay? Last week, Dr. Sai educated us on the need to adhere to the principles of good corporate governance. Are you okay? So, we expected that indeed some of these universities, should have admitted and known that it is not just about UTAG being on strike, but the law. Ghana is governed by law. And for that matter, if you have received a verdict from the court that your employees are supposed to return to the classroom,
you must just respect the verdict.
It is incumbent on you not to just respect, but implement it.
Exactly so.
By writing to the people to come back to the classroom. But you see, often than not, we like playing this politics whenever it is government. But
politics they here too, and no be levy alone.
Oh no, please. I mean,
It's everywhere.
we have the corporate politics.
Permeated.
You see, government is the employer. The government had delegated his authority to the principal officers of the university. So whenever there are issues, you are the one standing in the shoes of the government to implement them. But here we are. Some of the vice chancellors of other universities have not shown leadership. You just ensure that you are implementing a court order.
That's it.
Get letters to the lecturers and ask them to come back to the classroom respecting the law of our land. But some of them didn't have the courage to do that. And trust me, Kafi, UPSA, we did it. Okay? Yeah. And let me also admit that UPSA lecturers did not return to the classroom. Not necessarily because of that letter. But you see, we understand what is happening. And we know that we run a unique model. Okay? To be frank with you, Kafi, apart from salaries, the government does not do so much on our campus. As lecturers and our management, we have agreed. In fact, when you come to our campus and you see our UTAC, engaging our management, it's so nice.
Love it.
It's so lovely. We understand each other. We agree to develop our university. We run a number of programs to raise revenue, okay, to run our university.
GRA should learn from you.
I'm telling you.
How to raise funds.
But you see, I think we can use every avenue to advise UTAC.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. UTAC must know. National UTAC must know. I'm a member of UTAC. That where we have gotten to, we need to look at the kitty of the government. That already the government is facing a lot of financial difficulties. So we should rather, yes, indeed, come out with some negotiation. But how to raise that revenue? Because when you're able to even negotiate to have salary enhancement, the next issue is ability to pay.
That's it.
So it's incumbent on UTAC, that belongs to the body of knowledge, are you okay, to now again suggest to government as to how those revenues can be raised.
Great point.
And also meet the needs or whatever figure we have negotiated on. Then look elsewhere apart from the government kitty. Yeah. There are several IGFs
internally
on our
generated funds
on our various campuses.
Listen, you pause now. Now they must see you for consultation because UPSC, you're doing a good job. Yeah, we are really proud of you. Yeah. Great stuff from my guests. Yeah, I always enjoy Tuesdays because they bring the juice here. 0555561034. My guests are Professor Mauto from UPSA and Dr. Osai from the Internal Audit Agency. Now Tachua is here with Sunny.
Sanjin Babao.
Babao Keke.
We are here to read your messages.
Yes.
Reiterate key points, comments made by persons represent their own views and not that of the corporation. Ocho Krikri Kenklebe ni yo nyonghe nemi ni wonkwe wa adafi try wojiami. First day of the month of March, we are looking into our newspapers. So March is called Ocho Krikri in Ga because it's usually very hot and the sun scorches. That's why it's called Ocho Krikri. That's what it means. Echo tamola, like fire. Okay? Welcome to March. Your messages now. All of you sending us shouts for Heritage Month on Breakfast Show. We appreciate, but I'll try and skip as many of those as I can so we can address some of the substantive issues. So, allow us this one. So in love with what we are doing, we appreciate it. And then I'll pick the thoughts of Ona Stoneboy Bena. He's asking, so if your birthday is 29th February, how far? You go join March or you go postpone? That's one you have to answer it for yourself. But that's just by the way. Emeritus is saying he wants social media handles. Follow the stream, you will get it right there. William, good morning, CAF. Are we all in Ghana employed? The answer is no. So why tax the unemployed? The president alone is misusing our funds in this country by hiring private jets. We don't pay anything. We won't pay anything useless called e-levy. Togbe Bagblaja from Tanigbe.
Tanigbe is my mother's hometown, and Bagblaja means cockroach.
I hate those animals.
But we love Togbe.
Togbe, you reserve the rights to your comments. More from Talk Bay, happy new month and thanks GTV and management and crew for playing my campaign music video. This is your campaign music
Keep
video.
Ghana clean.
What are we already doing with all these taxes we already paying as Ghanaians? And we still have all these bad roads, Dumso, no water, etc. It's a big shame. That according to Togbe. Abbas says anyone who says only 3 million pays in this country is a liar and exhibiting intellectual dishonesty. Indirect taxes has more impact on the economy than the meager taxes collected from government employees. Import duties, consumption tax are 10 times the income tax. 2022, he says, super excited today's show. I am so much happy to see you all in your traditional dress and very much happy that all of you can speak your vernaculars as real children of your regions. I have a special, please, the special, that's why I'm reading this, it's a special gift. Let the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, should stop that e-levy. It's better he go and withdraw all his hidden money. You reserve the right to your comments. We do not associate with those. Please talk back up. Ask your panel if there's no alternative ways of mobilizing these taxes except the e-levy option. Hashtag GTV breakfast. Tony sent us that from Drapa. Thank you, Tony. Dr. Odrosan has spoken all, and therefore the facts narrated on GTV must be copied to Parliament's minority to be precise.
It's not even about the minority.
By
because
Amankwa of
even the majority don't know how to even communicate this well. It's not just a majority thing. You hear different things from different people. They are not communicating it as clearly as you have done. And it's because of the political lenses they put on. It's as simple as that, you know.
More messages coming in. Hashtag we love to see GTV breakfast. I'm Dominic from Takwa. My question is, if one wants to increase tax, do you double tax the same person is paying for taxes already, or you bring in a new person who is not paying? This is what will happen with the e-levy unless they are telling us who already pay tax from these incomes will not pay. If not, this is double taxation in economics. Thank you. Ame says the Westerners use taxes to develop, but they didn't introduce any tax like e-levy in any form. Thank you for your message. More coming in on the e-levy, and this one is saying, good morning. Do we find a way to make those who are evading taxes to pay, or we make those who are already paying taxes to pay more with the excuse that those who are not paying will now pay? Obing Menu sent us this message from Amasa Mang. And let me take the opportunity of this to educate you on Amasa Mang. Ni Amasa was the one who founded the town. So the town was named after Ni Amasa. So it's not Amasa Mai, Amasa Man, and all. It's Amasa Mang. Like Danso Mang, Pobi Mang. You get the... So more education in our Ghana month. Good morning. My question is, what is the government taxing on the e-levy? The telcos are charging for the services and government is already taxing from charges of telcos. So why is the e-levy on the individuals using the service? Zanuza says, GTV breakfast, good to you. Good morning to you all in the studio in Ghana. Sometimes I wonder what our president saw when he made the statement, we are sitting on money and yet we are hungry. So more in that comment there. Kafui, are you, my senior in your studio, saying without e-levy the country will come to a financial breakdown? Please, I want to know, because this is what I feel from the discussion from Community 25. That's a question Parker is asking. How are we? We are very well. Thank you for asking. This is quite a lengthy one. I'm tempted to skip it, Monica, if you could keep it crisp next time. Good morning. Watching live from Nkwanta, Oti region. My name is Masaudu Hamza Junior Capello. He's saying, in fact, Akufo-Addo keeps comparing himself to someone he claimed to be incompetent, really. And so that's your comment, that's your opinion there. Dr. Simeon, that's also quite long. Can I, our level of patriotism is a factor of citizens' transparency in carrying out duties in Ghana.
I hate to do this, but we want to dash to the airport. There's a parent of one of these Ghanaians who's come back from Ukraine, who is on and it's available, and our man Daryl wants to speak with him and bring his story to us. So we'll come back and get the messages from you. 055-556-1034. Day one of the new month, Ghana month on GTV. That's the hashtag we'd love to see as well. Hashtag GTV Breakfast. Hashtag Ghana month on GTV. Big stories, e-levy issues, UTAG issues. Of course, Ukraine is still on our minds, and we're trying to bring our people back home. Our man Daryl Alantego is at the airport and is awaiting the arrival of the people. Daryl, we can get you now live on the show. Take it away, please.
All right, so thank you very much and welcome once again to the Kodaka International Airport. As we are all aware, we're waiting for our compatriots who are arriving this morning from Ukraine. In the circumstance, obviously, parents and relatives will be in some level of anxiety over what the situation will be. We caught up with one parent who's been waiting in the arrivals hall for his ward. The ward has been away for 5 years doing medicine in Ukraine. I'm going to go straight and speak to him and find out what the situation has been ever since the war broke out and what he feels now knowing his child is on board that plane, which is just touched down, and they're going through COVID protocols, and then they would come to join us in the arrivals lobby. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm very fine, sir.
Thank you very much for joining us. Could you please tell us your name?
Yeah, I'm Major Retired Dr. Ebenezer Kwachi Ajiman.
Major, who are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for my son, Nana Kwachi Ajiman, who is in the 5th year doing medicine at the Bukovina State Medical University.
You have been a soldier, so I think it would be an understatement to ask how you felt when you first heard about the story or the news are breaking out in Ukraine and Russia.
Seriously, when we first heard that Russia was going to invade Ukraine, we're very anxious because in war you cannot determine sometimes the outcomes and the actions that other parties will take. So initially my intention was to get him reassured and then talk to him regularly to understand that as the situation unfolds, he should advise himself. Meanwhile, I was advising that he should listen to the government, listen to the university, and be in contact with his classmates or teammates elsewhere, so that at the end of the day, as the situation develops, they can better advise themselves. So I'm pretty happy that he's coming home because as far as they're concerned, they have not experienced such a thing before. And
tell us briefly about his state of mind when the war first began and when you spoke to him, how his demeanor was on the phone especially.
Indeed, I knew he was a very confident child, but for the first time when I spoke with him, he told me, Daddy, the situation is getting worse. We are looking at opportunity to leave this place. So I realized that his condition was not up to speed as I knew him. So actually he was very anxious. He was very much disturbed, especially about himself and about the rest of his colleagues, especially those who were in the other side where the war started.
Did you get calls from friends and family trying to find out if you've heard from your son?
And that's the greatest level of anxiety that you get across board. I'm getting people calling from abroad, US, Canada, UK, parents in Ghana, friends in Ghana, asking whether you heard from him, how he's faring. So that even added to the anxiety, especially his mother, who has not experienced such a thing before. And having his child outside with war raging, you can imagine the kind of level of anxiety in the house at the time that he has not even arrived in Ghana.
Thank you. Quick one. As every parent would do at the sight of their child in any form of trouble, will jump at the opportunity to rescue them. Did you at any point feel like the next flight, and I mean somewhere in Romania or, any of the neighboring countries to see if I could get my child out of Ukraine?
Yes, I knew the situation was going to be bad. So what we did was that I just spoke to him to begin to look for any available flight. Whatever the cost was not the issue, but to be able to leave Ukraine safe and secured, that's what we were looking for. So we were trying to look at opportunities anywhere that we could find, because I could not go myself, because you cannot even get visa to travel. But I was trying to direct and guide him to look for any opportune time to come in and take any flight and come to Ghana. But I was also very much concerned because he tells me he's a student leader. So leaving his mates too was another problem that I was trying to conjecture. So thankfully he was able to organize them, and thankfully the government has gone to their rescue and they are coming home. We are so happy to see them.
Given that he is here now and he's touched down, how do you feel, and what would you do at the first sight of him?
Just to thank God. Even though I'm a military person, my temperature level has risen. Naturally, is happy to behold him. I mean, I would embrace him and give glory to God, and also thank the government for bringing all the children home. And my prayer is that they will continue to do everything possible to bring the rest of the children home, because the parents are very much anxious to see their children.
I know it will be early days to say, but when the dust is finally settled, would you see him off to Ukraine to continue?
Yes. If everything is over, we weigh the options. But since it's his career, that is his future, we'll still stick with him. We seek his opinion in everything that we do. But naturally, he may have to go back and continue education and come back and serve Mother Ghana.
Thank you so very much, Major General, for speaking to us. Major General retired.
Major Dr. Ajiman retired.
Major Dr. Ajiman retired. Thank you so very much for speaking to GTV Breakfast. And so we're still at the arrivals hall at the Kotoka International Airport, waiting for compatriots who have now touched down, I can confirm, and are currently going through COVID protocols, after which they will come. Let me also state for the record that even though we're expecting all of them to arrive on the Qatar airline, we're told one of them, managed to catch the Turkish airline, and so he is being sent to join his compatriots who arrived on the Qatar Airlines to all go through the protocols, and then they'll join us in the arrivals lobby. Thank you very much for coming back to us. Kafui, take it back in the studio.
Hey, Alan, thank you very much. Keep on the beat and bring us the stories as and when they roll in. So that must be a very happy father there awaiting the arrival of his son from Ukraine, where he was studying medicine. You're watching GTV Breakfast. My name is Togbi Kafui De Cho Achito. Yes, and you're welcome to the show. And my guests are Professor Mauto and Dr. Osai. And we're looking at a lot of issues in the papers. Let's end on some money notes, okay? Because the Minerals Income Investment Fund, MIIF, has acquired 14.4 million shares in Asante Gold Corporation. So this is a historic development and investment in Asante Gold Corporation. The MIIF is Africa's largest gold producer and has acquired over 14.4 million ordinary shares in a historic investment deal in Asante Gold Corporation, a mining exploration and development company listed on the Toronto and Frankfurt stock exchanges. This is a story I'm reading from asasiradio.com. What does this mean? Luckily, we have two finance people here. So when MIIF acquires 14.4 million shares in Asante Gold Corporation, should we be doing cartwheels and jumping up and down and getting excited?
Well, I think, there are two ways. First, when if they acquire it, it will depend on whether they have acquired majority interest or minority interest or an associate. If it's an associate, then it means it's an investment out of which they want to get some benefit. But most importantly, as Ghanaians, Ashanti Gold is in Ghana. They have a concession in Ghana, and they are engaging Ghanaians, they are employing Ghanaians, so, and they are also paying some royalties and taxes to Ghana. So it is in the supreme interest of Ghana to have Ashanti Gold still running. That is the other side. The other side is the investment benefits by way of dividends and the other associated benefit that would go to the Minerals Investment Fund. The third level is the fact that it is a risk-free investment, because that fund is expected to be invested in the supreme interest of the Republic of Ghana.
Risk-free, you said?
It's supposed to be.
Okay, relatively risk-free.
Relatively, my understanding, because if it is not a risk-free investment and it is risky, then it is a problem for the Republic of Ghana, because that money is for all of us, and it is expected to be invested in areas that will give us the best possible returns.
Okay.
So that's how I see it.
All
so
right.
I'm assuming, and I'm convincing myself, that the managers of the funds have taken all these factors into consideration before going into the investment.
Awesome.
But there are non-financial benefits, which are the employment, the payment of royalties, the payment of taxes that Ashgold will pay to government, and all of that. Those ones are there. But I'm interested in the benefit and the returns, and then they should weigh the risk well, so the funds can be used well.
Thank you so much. Professor Mauto, good news? Great news?
That's good news. At least the returns come back to Ghana. and indeed, if I think the same concept, I don't want to repeat what Doc has mentioned. The same concept is what I think the Japadels sought to really achieve, and placing the entire resources on the global stock exchange.
But of course, that was also very heavily politicized.
Oh yes,
so
heavily politicized.
It died a death.
So you see, Ghanaians don't even come out to even understand, an innovative investment concept. Sometimes you see, we lose out of the educational beat of whatever innovation somebody wants to probably come out. And once it is politicized and public pronouncements are made, and then you have the political activists taking a stance, it ends there. It destroys the whole thing. Yeah. It behoves on the commitment of the government to continue with it. So it's unfortunate, but we live in a country where indeed our educational level is quite low. And today being, Ghana Month, let me reiterate on this fact that if we really want to develop this economy, this country, okay, we need to take a second look at our means of instruction in our various schools.
Education levels.
I'm telling you, I always juxtapose someone who goes to learn engineering by the roadside, who is trained with his or her indigenous language, Twi, Ga, Ewe, or Hausa, and then someone who goes to the university, KNUST, to go and read engineering. At the end of the day, at the end of 4 years, who is able to reassemble an engine, who is able to even listen to the sound of an engine.
Because we just want results, really.
But see, there's a determining factor here. The language, the means of instruction.
The understanding, of course.
Okay, you are able to get it right once they use your mother tongue. Okay, so it is very instructive that, look, we should be looking at the means of, teaching our people. I'm making this special appeal that we should look at our local languages, okay, as to how, and then determine the limits at which we have to use the English, and continue to identify some specific languages that we can use to develop our country. Very, very important.
I teach on TikTok.
Yes.
And you would not believe the level of interest that people want.
You don't know, I read your Ewe lessons. Those of us who were born and bred in Accra, Newtown, have to learn our own language.
I get a lot of people like who say that. And then you have people who are married to others who want. One person told me that Charlie, now his wife thinks he has a side chick, never a side chick, because Charlie, the way he's learning the language, he's even scared. His family are even afraid of him now because he's learning a lot of stuff on the language. So yeah, it's important that the communication is key.
Very important.
And I just want to call out GRA, because GRA, you haven't really done a good job. You haven't covered yourselves in glory in educating us on this whole, the need to pay taxes. I also want to call out NCA. We've been trying to get NCA to sit here and talk to us about the issues with the Ghana card registration. Ghanaians are telling me every day that they have the card, they have their phones, they are abroad, they cannot come to Ghana by the end of March 31. What will happen to the alliance? We call NCA, they just give us a runaround. So we are calling you out today on Ghana Month. We're calling you out. We're not doing this for ourselves. It's for the people. This is Ghana television. So whatever we say here is for the people of Ghana. We don't do politics here. We just want to put the information out there so people are informed. So I'm calling you out, GRA. You haven't done a good job with the education. And I'm calling you out, National Communications Authority. In case you're wondering what the NCA stands for, it's National Communications Authority. Come and let's chat. Let's just, or we can come to you. All we want is a discussion. That even on Zoom we'll do it. But people need to know. That's it. And people need to know what the messages are. So Thelma, after my little rant, please tell me what's in the messages.
It's a mini rant.
In
Ghana, if you are good at something, we say the profession and then we add pana, which is good. But if you are bad at something, you are panaku. So if you are a teacher, you are chonlo. A good teacher, chonlo, pana. But a bad teacher, chonlo, panaku.
I don't have any chonlo panakus here.
Pana, people here without the So that's just a key one for you. Airport. Someone just sent me a message and said, how do we call an airport in Ghana? So the aeroplane we refer to as Koyonlele. So the ship for the air.
Yes.
So the airport is called Koyonlele Mahe.
Fantastic.
That's an airport. So
Let me give you mine in Ever.
okay.
Yamavu, ya is air. Yama, inside the air. Vu is vehicle.
Okay.
So Yamavu is aircraft. And then airport is Yamavu Zefe. Where it lands.
Zefe.
Fair is a place.
Yes.
Ze is land. So Yamavu Zefe.
Zefe. With
Like
the
you're blowing.
with the blowing.
Sogako.
Sogako.
Jaluko.
So on that note, we are learning Sogako.
Jaluko.
Don't say Sogako.
Fair or fair? No.
No.
Like you're blowing.
So
You're blowing dust.
Then I like the fact you say we should educate ourselves more on our local languages, and that's what we are trying to do with some of these interactions, so that you know that it's okay to speak your own language. English is not a measure of intelligence. It's not the only measure. Present Akpana. Thank you. Messages coming in at WhatsApp number 05555 I'm a message reader. Pana.
Hashtag Pana.
In fact, I wish you could get more people like Dr. Osai to educate the public on the need to pay taxes. Ghana for party now so yesura boarding. Adra Owusua said so. This one is about health insurance, and this one is he's saying it's not like the government is offering free health delivery. It's an insurance policy a citizen subscribes to. That's why only the insured benefits from it. This fund is supported by various taxes. Thank you for sending your message. Mutala, your message disappeared. Michael from Ofinso, I'd like to suggest for e-government to reduce e-taxes of salaried workers so as not to overburden them both on side of the e-levy and other income taxes. Thank you. So I'm trying to bring this one, and this is quite long. A man who can't manage 100 cedis can't do anything with 1 billion cedis. This one is quite lengthy, so I'm tempted to just skip over it. Nana Major, Salaam alaikum and good morning, Kafui and other nobles. I believe 100% e-levy will help the economy to develop and create jobs for the youth. So let us appeal to our politicians to work together, like Doctor said. The burden is on Parliament, CAF and Thelma. Sunday was my birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Happy now. Happy birthday.
Afia ya nebani na boye who are job babao.
Amen.
This one is so Nana Ekuamwa Boating Ablekuma Central, aka E-Levy is good. What's her name? Good morning, Kafu. I'm enjoying great submissions from Dr. Eric Uduasai. A very special greeting to your key person over there. Thank you for sending that message. Good morning, Togbeka and Thelma. Happy Ghana month to y'all in the studio. Happy Ghana month to you as well. Good morning, CAF and your panelists. Talking about holding government accountable. Government is not being transparent with us in its dealings. Is government willing to be accountable? Hobson is asking this.
And that's a key question. Accountability.
Man.
Yeah.
Accountability. Good morning, Kafui. Togbi Kafui, I'm very proud of you people this morning. You see, education on e-levy this morning is credible, but the greatest problem is, are they going to sit in the manner in which Togbi Mauto is saying it? Ghana, we have money, but lack ideas to use it. Lack of ideas to use it is a problem. Still, it can't solve our problems. BFS, Thomas Roxon, Nyikuto. What does that? Nyikuto.
I'll consult my oracles and get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Trisha says, I will always say this. Ghanaians want development, but don't want to pay taxes. Shame on us. David, don't talk. I still have to revisit my earlier post that in order to depoliticize issues, public education and campaign should be given to the National Theatre, whose duty, among several others, is to effect this education through all media outlets like live stage performances, radio, television, films, and other forms like cartoons or animation, puppetry, moppetry, etc., etc. Please let's allow state agencies to showcase their viability and the reasons for which they are established. New media on the internet.
Salute.
Mr. Donto,
salute.
Good morning.
Salute.
And one of the prolific talents ever from our shows to the world. Good morning, GTV. Kindly tell my dear brothers to stop talking about e-levy because it's not going to help us. Things are going hard in this country. You people are not talking about it. Please, Kafu, if we have a problem in this country, government should do something about it. Okay, that's your thoughts there.
And I'll
Good
end
morning.
on fuel, don't worry.
Okay. So, good morning. This one says, in fact, the Ghana card is becoming a headache to many Ghanaians. Now, Ghana card, even at the office, is 250. How would the poor get a card while a lot of people have not done the card yet? I think the last time the Ghana card rep was here, he told us you only pay 250 if you want the premium service. But if you are registering as a new someone needing the card fresh, you don't pay anything for it. Good morning, Togbi. I really enjoyed your show this morning. I think it would be very good if you can translate the discussion on the e-levy into our local dialect so that everyone can get the details of it. Thanks. Simon Dokpa sent this from Ahupe Volta, and I hope I got that right. I'm learning to blow my sounds in every...
correct.
Okay, so... thank you for the suggestion. More messages coming in. E-levy is regressive and so must be rejected. Please don't portray the e-levy as a panacea of the financial crisis. Tell government to cut expenditure and the economy will be well. Messages, Bibri, Babao, Leviticus, good morning. Payment of e-levy is more critical than ever before considering what is happening on the world stage. Thanks for sending that. Thelma is... Koyomling Lele Shimahe Inga. So that's the airport. Koyom Lele Shimahe Inga is the airport. So they've spelled it nicely for you using new letters on your keyboard. Good morning, GTV Breakfast Show. Congratulations to your team. I now listen to you more than any other station because you educate people and you do not do politics. Bravo from Carlos Magnus in Tamale. Thank you.
Say empire. Empire is thank you.
Empire.
Yes,
empire is thank you.
Empire.
More messages coming in. I just want to catch some of the newer ones and please keep them temperate. Good morning, my wonderful presenters. God bless you for the good way. My question is, where do the monies gotten from our resources go to? Kweku is asking. Good morning, Togbi Kafui and Nathel Maganians. To be reminded about the collapse of Anglo Gold Ashanti. Well, we do not have the means to verify these claims, so I will leave you to make them on your own. My problem with the NPP is that when you give them money, they become arrogant and misuse their money through corruption. That's your view, and you're entitled to it. Good morning, Kafui. The GRA is not coming out to educate us on why this e-levy thing should come up because they don't have any better reason or explanation. That's according to AMG. Thelma, how this one you have to send it to me person. How do I pronounce my name? The Taki and the Taki. There's a whole debate there. I'll get into it in a little while.
I vote for Taki.
Let's you go for Taki.
I vote for Taki.
Like
Taki sounds English.
Tyria. So there's a whole story there. Prof. Mauto, you have always been my man, but your discourse on UTAG this morning is like advertising UPSA.
Why not? He's a UPSA man.
He's a lecturer. He's a lecturer there, and so
why not?
He can't make those comments.
Advertise them.
And this is somebody's concern. Please, this man, there is no salary for government workers. He's asking. So those are your questions. Okay. And of course, Ukraine is also really topical right now. And the students are back in the country, and we've just been at the airport. In fact, JTV Breakfast should please make available Dr. Osai's soundbite on e-levy for our usage. So we'll follow this up and we'll cut it and put it on our social media platforms just so you can get access to them. So follow the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation's social media pages. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're also on Twitter and Instagram. So everywhere. Follow us in our other conversations as well. We'll be talking about WAEC and the release of the results in the next segment of the show. I'll hand it over back to Kaf unless I have your permission to read some more.
You hand it over to me, but I want to know, how do you say exams in Ghana? Because in Ever you say dodokpo. Dodokpo. Exams.
It's just a test or an examination.
Yeah. How is this dodokpo? Do means to weigh. So it's the weighing to see. That's what an exam
is. Soshe.
Taste and see.
Soshe.
It's a test.
Yeah, so washe.
Yes.
Okay. What does so actually mean?
So, I don't know so, but I know it's soshe.
Okay, it's test. It's a test. Okay. Dodokpo.
Dodokpo.
Yes.
Simple
Yes.
car.
Car.
And depending on the stress you put on the car, it can mean many things.
Yes.
So car is test. If you say car, that's crap. And if you say car, it's also tempting. So if you are tempting somebody, it's also car.
When you say kakai,
Kakai too.
Oh, wonderful. Loving this, loving this. By the way, if you want to say, have you been paid yet in ever? Have they paid you?
Sounds like a song.
Yes, have they paid you? And salary is fetu. The money no come here, salary no come here. Fetu. So those are the key words for the month of March, Heritage Month on GTV. Last point, petrol to sell above 8. Some people are mischievously saying that petrol is breaking the 8. If government does not intervene, that's the clause in Business Analyst. What's your thought? Should the price just go where it goes, or you bring it down artificially?
when we say government should intervene, we should all understand what's happening globally. If we want government to intervene, government would intervene with subsidy, and subsidy should come from taxes.
And taxes is what we are looking for.
That is the thing. So when you are inviting government to come in, you are saying government to come in with subsidy, and government will come in with taxes, and taxes is what we have to pay. So it boils down to the payment of taxes. If we pay taxes, government can come in to subsidize, and then the price can come down. That's it.
Thank you for the education.
Even without the subsidies, the government's other option is to even reduce the tax component in the fuel.
Again, losing tax.
Again, it is taxes. So you see, you can't run any economy without taxes. And this is the hard truth. No government in this country had ever run a government without taxes. Okay. It's very instructive to know that, look, even these fuel issues we are talking about, there are external factors as well as internal factors.
And Ukraine is taking the price up.
I'm telling you.
Over $100.
Our city is depreciating against the dollar.
Yes. Yeah. But we are producing oil. If oil is going up, we shouldn't be making money.
You don't refine oil.
We don't.
Case closed.
That's another matter.
You don't refine oil.
The matter closed. Professor John Koku Mauto is the Dean of the School of Graduate Studies at the UPSA, and Dr. Eric Odro-Osai is a governance expert. He's a lawyer. He's the Director General of Internal Audit Agency, a former teacher as well. And I really enjoyed what you have done with us today. And I want to say, have a good day. And I'll say, Nkeka Nanyo, may the day be good for you. And then you can say, Nenyo na woha. Thank you. Exactly. So, thank you very much. Enjoy the day.
Same to you.
Yes.
Same to you.
Same to you.
Nenyo na woha.
Indeed. And that's it for the conversations we have. Just to let you know, then in case you didn't know, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation broadcasts in not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10, not 20, not 25, but 30 languages. 30. And back in the past, we used to do stuff in French, in Arabic, in Swahili. We were international. So don't mess with us. Yeah? And we are just wishing you a great Heritage Month right here on GTV. You'll be enjoying some great music from Osai Crunchy in a while. He plays Seprewa. And now the Seprewa is like the great-grandfather of the guitar. You know, long ago before the guitar came, Charlie Seprewa came around. And you'll be hearing that on our show. You stay. There's conversations on WAEC, poor results, cancellation of papers, and other things. But also good stuff on today's show. And we just may be having a chance to enjoy Camido right on today's show. You stay with us. Don't go anywhere. This is GTV Breakfast. First day of our Heritage Month on GTV.
Asananga yankupon ayayankanidi Sabra Ajian Tata the bedroom Achamanda Bodrium and I had a ponder and I had a cassia and then your baby and conya ana Ghana di awuda ana da ya awuda die enti e kai oben enti sabo somia ye wo mu ya to din se Ghana bo somia na abra ye di awuda no na ka na no amwa ya de boaye ni eto adwene ni nyina wo menye de enti ni nyina wo menkwaso yempani mfo ya betena aka asem ya damo ase Professor Mauto Dr. Osain Adamosi ampa abra ye dia wode ne esrasa ma ye nremfi ya kasa ana twi kasa na se ebe kasa wo kan kura se won tebrofo nti woni mie ya o man bia ya to ya kasa ayira no ya to ya kasa jeje mu no yenkoso nso ede Mesre to wake up free, sir. Casa be a wagon and be a one flow. About doing try at the Moama. Can I what I say? The part was an a camera for a man. Oh, me, I'm not near money yet, and one more may yet to pone. I'm says, I know my air can you Samna yedi Ghana day yedi awudai na wase akaka ye ho na de ya kan se achia na mu ya Ghana nya mfia de osinu ani da so wo enti minnum ni omie ye be ye omie ye be ye Yenyina ya dwun ko benkromu a ya mwa edu baby a wase ya je chimu ye de piepie nsemu ye de baba nsemu abo amante ase ya adwuma eno no nkyira watan timisra so bia no fumu a yamfanche na ye no ma fufuro bia kan ya mehu o ma ba ko pane ewo anu ana Ghana akuya Ghana o timisra mama ye e bo mi ye be ye o mi yo na ye bo mi ye be ye o mi ye acha na mu ye mfia de osinu ni da so wo mi wo yo be ye mi wo ye
Hello Ghana, independence just called. Oh mother Ghana, do you know you are beautiful without glamour? Even in tattered clothes, your radiance penetrates walls. You stand the fairest in Ethica. Indeed, you are the gateway to Africa. Nature has not been your enemy. Your land breeze, milk and honey. You are the firstborn, the elephant of the properties you have won. When we bring the Greenwich Meridian on board, you are the center of the world. In whatever position the celestial attains, it increases your bounds. Do you know you are an eagle, capacitated to maneuver any angle, soaring higher and higher even after battle? Cause you have gained independence with much struggle. Independence seems to have given you strong feathers, but your sons and daughters aren't in flight. They have no odum on which to perch, neither nest in which to rose. Neocolonialism has malnourished their ideas.
Thanks for staying on, and it's still Breakfast Live on GTV. It's Ghana Month on GTV, it's Heritage Month, and today I'm representing the Ga people of the Greater Accra region. Nintashine maba umanye keje gamanche ni taki teiko churu abia gamanche mimbao de manye na ewulomo numo akwa mensa obiyo mbata ona nishishi minga bolebine ojiko ihe kanu akeshi oye wala lolo. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for coming on this journey with us. We are talking about WAEC and the release of the 2021 edition of the Basic Education Certificate Examination BECE results. A statement from the council said the entire results of 46 candidates have been cancelled for the offence of either sending mobile phones into the examination hall or impersonation, and the result of 138 candidates have been cancelled for the offence of either bringing in foreign materials into the examination hall or colluding with other candidates. A bigger question, why do we still have examination malpractices every year? And we are going to Zoom for this conversation with Divine Pe, and he's a fellow of the Africa Education Watch, and we'll be trying to pick his thoughts on this matter. We'll go to the airport once again and speak to our guy there, Alan. We understand some of the students have started coming into the arrival hall, and he will give us the updates now. Alan. Yes, tell us what the latest is, Alan.
Hi, good morning. Once again, welcome to the Kotoka International Airport, Thelma. Thank you very much, Thelma. Once again, welcome to the Kotoka International Airport. I must say sorry for the crossing of our shots because there's lots of activities currently ongoing. Our compatriots have arrived. They have arrived, and where I'm currently standing in the arrivals hall, I'm standing between at least 8 of them. We had 16 join us. One came via Turkish Airlines, as I mentioned earlier. Seated with me, if my camera will pan a bit down towards my right, you will see some of the young women who joined us this morning from Turkey. Sorry for that crossing of the shot. The officials are all over the place, and there's so much movement going on. These have joined us gracefully, and you should see the excitement on the faces of relatives and family as well as friends. They are yet to speak to us. The officials from the Foreign Ministry, the Deputy Minister and his team have said to us that, in fact, they're not going to, as agreed earlier, allow any interviews. However, after the 10 o'clock gathering, if they wish to grant any interviews, they are free to do so. But for as long as they're here, they are going to be looked after. Now, we're told there is going to be a certain brief ceremony here to welcome them, and then once that is done, all of us will be conveyed to the press center where a press briefing will take place. They're all being asked to move, and so please bear with us if you find a lot of people crossing our shorts or, you know, movements all over the place. They're being asked to join their colleagues on the front bench, and so that is the situation currently here. Our compatriots from Ukraine have arrived successfully and safely. They have gone through their COVID protocols, and so they are currently okay to be with us. And yes, there is so much movement around, and so please bear with us if at any point you find that my camera is having to move around. It is because, as part of the arrangements to welcome them, we have to be in a certain park. There is, as far as I've counted, 17 seated here. 16 came via Qatar Airways, and one of them joined the 16 via Turkish Airlines. And so now we have all 17 with us. And as part of the welcoming, the officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration is engaging them, giving them a certain briefing as to what has taken place in their absence and how they have engaged their parents or their families, and constantly updating them on the situation away in Ukraine, as far as or as much as they know about the situation over there. They have kept in touch with their families and brought them up to speed. And so the Deputy Minister is going to speak to them. I'll try and go close so we can get what he's saying out. Sorry, sir.
Am I addressing the press or am I addressing my babies?
Honorable, you're addressing your babies, but we're interested.
Oh.
Bear with us, but there seems to be a certain organized chaos here.
No, they have to go back. Oh, please. Colleagues, I beg you. It's been a long flight for our brothers and sisters. If you can move back a little bit so that the Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister can welcome them and all of us will leave here.
The people I'm addressing, there are some sitting there. Radio. That's radio. So that's in front of the people. You can't come. UTV. Adam Kasiabo. Go down. Go down. The people I'm to address, they are sitting here. You are blocking them.
We're all down.
Go on your knees. The people are here.
GTV.
You want to make us so much. Almost over Jaffa.
You know what about the Muslims? But colleagues, I'm begging you, let's organize that so that we can leave.
So we're ready, sir.
These are live visuals from the Kotoka International Airport, where the first batch of Ghanaian students in Ukraine have arrived. We are waiting to hear from the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. We are told that she will be addressing the media in a short while, but 17 students have arrived, 16 aboard a Qatar Airways flight and 1 aboard a Turkish Airways flight, 17 in all. They've just gone through COVID protocols, and the Deputy Minister is expected to address us now.
Let me acknowledge your presence. I welcome you to Ghana on behalf of the President and the government of Ghana. Akwaba, you've gone through a very difficult times and a very difficult journey. We share with you the anxious moments that you've had to go through in the last couple of weeks. But at the end of the day, you are here with us, and we welcome you. And we thank the Almighty God that He has been with you and see you through and brought you home. And in the next couple of minutes or hours, you will reconcile and re-engage with your families. We have to thank your leaders who has worked with our officials at the various missions to make it possible for you to get here today. And the government is determined to continue to make sure that your colleagues who are still in transit to be evacuated will eventually be evacuated. Now, there is one important thing that we need to score. Information coming in indicates that Ghana is the first African country to have been able to evacuate some of their compatriots and some of their students. So at least, if not for anything at all, the government of Nana Akufo-Addo has scored a first. After this short engagement with you, and at about 10 o'clock, the Minister for Foreign Affairs will be meeting the parents of students who have been caught up in this unfortunate situation in Ukraine. Ghana on its side is doing its best to try to encourage Russia to stop the attack and the atrocities that they are meting out on the citizens of Ukraine. And we also want to go on record to thank the International Migration Organization for the support that they are giving. And we also want us all to remember our compatriots who have so far not been able to be evacuated. As at this morning, we understand there are about 500 of our compatriots who've managed to cross from Ukraine to the other neighboring countries, especially Poland, Romania, Hungary, Moldova, Slovakia, and just a couple of minutes ago, we understand some of your compatriots are Sumi. Hopefully, will be able to cross over to Russian territory itself. The government has laid plans to evacuate every student or every Ghanaian who is prepared and ready to come home. We have liaised very well with Qatar Airways and Turkish Airlines, and they have agreed that any Ghanaian who has crossed to any of these countries where they do fly will be flown home within the next couple of days. It is very important that we all do remember them in our prayers, that the good Lord will deliver them safely into a safe shelter and eventually back home to Ghana. I thank you very much, and I welcome you home. Come and enjoy your stay back home. And we are sure in the very near couple of days, hopefully Russia will stop its aggression and it becomes possible for you to go back and continue with your education. On behalf of my minister, I wish to welcome you finally again and then to thank you for your attention this morning. Akwaba, once again. There you go. You were told not to go there. Oh, yes. The leader of the team, the 17 that just arrived, 16 arrived on Qatar Airways and one on Turkish Airlines. The leader of the team has something small to say. Yes, Nana.
Okay, so my name is Nana Kwachiajiman, a fifth medical year student at Bukovinian State Medical University. I've studied for 5 years in Ukraine, and this is quite unfortunate we have to come home. But I want to first of all thank the Almighty God, also thank the government of Ghana, thank the various ambassadors, thank the ministry, and also reassure parents that their children will be back home. Siblings should be calm, friends should be calm. The government is doing its possible best to make us all come back home. For the meantime, we want to say thank you and we appreciate whatever has been done for us.
And so, if you're with us, these are live scenes from the Kotoka International Airport. You have just heard from Kwachiajiman. I spoke to his father earlier on. He's a fifth-year medical student in the Ukraine who successfully helped his compatriots or his colleagues to make their way to safety and finally on board Qatar Airways and made their way to Ghana. We're going to go to the press center as I mentioned earlier, and over there the minister will address us. Also interactions with the parents will take place, and from there I'll possibly try and grab a fuller interview with young Kwachiajiman, whose dad is Major Dr. Retired Kwachiajiman, whom I spoke to earlier. Unfortunately, we couldn't bring you the scene of that beautiful hug between father and son, but yeah, we'll do our best to let you have it. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're staying with us, then we're going to go around and see who we can speak to or what goes on from here. Thank you very much anyway, Telma.
Live updates from the Kotoka International Airport, where the first batch of Ghanaian students have arrived from war-torn Ukraine, and 17 of them are in the country. We've heard the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs speaking and giving the assurance that other Ghanaian nationals will be brought back home, and arrangements are for those in Sumi in particular to be evacuated to Russia. We'll give you further updates from that development and indeed the meeting with parents of the students at 10 a.m. when we do have them across other GBC networks. For now, we'll take a break. We'll be back with more.